Most students lose easy marks on geometric distribution, but you won't be one of them. Look, that is quite the promise, right? But the absolute truth is, when it comes to Cambridge AS and A-level mathematics, candidates consistently bleed marks on easily avoidable errors in the discrete random variables section. Welcome to the boardroom. I'm stepping in as your managing director today, and we are going to treat this exam paper like a high-stakes client brief. We've dug deep into the principal examiner reports, essentially the client feedback, and we have found exactly where things go wrong, and more importantly, how you can structure your responses with the absolute clarity and authority of an executive consultant. Let's dive in. Welcome to this executive masterclass. Today, we are opening up what I like to call the examiner's playbook. We are decoding the exact strategies and frameworks you need to absolutely master geometric distribution, GOP. We aren't just looking at the math today. We are looking at the psychology of the exam itself. What is the client, the Cambridge examiner, desperately hoping to see on your proposal? We're going to transform your approach from a standard student response into a highly persuasive, top-tier executive pitch. Here is our project roadmap for today. First, core principles. Second, the method mark strategy. Third, our systematic processing framework. Fourth, we'll run a diagnostic on the top 3 examiner traps. And finally, we will master critical evaluation. Section 1, core principles. Let's establish our cognitive domains. Okay, before we even think about manipulating formulas, we absolutely need to understand the foundational layer of this topic. The examiners are targeting very distinct cognitive domains here: your knowledge, your application, and your analysis. Now, I want you to imagine a junior consultant on our team. Let's call him Consultant Alex. Alex has excellent data points, right? He knows his formulas, but his executive summary delivery is incredibly poor. Why? Because straight from the principal examiner reports, we see the recurring disaster Alex makes, jumping into complex mathematics without defining his baseline variables. He consistently confuses key terminology. You simply cannot apply a mathematical concept to a client's problem if you haven't defined it first. In an extended response, establishing your mathematical definitions right out of the gate is non-negotiable. It proves to the examiner that your foundation is rock solid before you even touch a calculator. Now, contrast Alex with another junior on the team, Consultant Sam. Sam is a highly persuasive speaker, very confident, but Sam lacks physical asset backing. He relies on what Cambridge calls superficial breadth. That means just memorizing a wide, shallow pool of disconnected facts. But listen to me, the Cambridge assessment framework explicitly prioritizes analytical depth over that superficial knowledge. Analytical depth means you demonstrate a connected, conceptual understanding. It's the difference between memorizing a script and truly understanding the business model. Top-performing students exhibit this deeply rooted understanding because that depth is exactly what allows you to transfer your knowledge to completely unfamiliar, highly complex contexts on exam day. You have to back up your pitch with real analytical depth. Section 2, the method mark strategy. This is all about prioritizing process over the final answer. This is where we have our structural strategy debate. We need to shift your focus from what you know to exactly how you show it. You might think math is strictly about getting to that final correct number at the bottom of the page. Surprisingly, it's really not. In geometric distribution questions, examiners are basically functioning as corporate auditors. They are practically begging to give you points for your methodology, your audit trail. Marks are rewarded heavily for systematic analysis and evidence-based reasoning. Let me put it this way. Even if you make a tiny, careless arithmetic error right at the end, if your systematic analysis is flawless and your working is completely transparent, you will capture the absolute lion's share of the method marks. The examiner buys your logic, even if the final calculation is slightly off. You have to show your process, prove your reasoning every single time. Section 3, the systematic processing framework. Before we dive into the exact procedural steps, let's pause for a quick structural update. To ensure your academic portfolio remains highly competitive, you need the right intelligence. Subscribe to our channel, Ace the Exams, that's at Ace the Exams, and make sure you enable notifications for our weekly consulting insights. We provide the blueprints you need to stay at the top of your game. All right, let's resume and fix this pitch. So how do we practically capture all those high-tariff method marks we just talked about? We use a standardized 5-step procedural framework. Think of this as your Peel formatting matrix for math. Step 1, deconstruct the question. What is the client actually asking for? Step 2, extract the relevant data and variables. Pull out only the high-value insights. Step 3, select your analytical framework. Which specific mathematical tool applies here? Step 4, execute the analysis with crystal clear notation. No messy scribbles, clean professional execution. And Step 5, Verify your results and present them using strict, correct mathematical terminology. If you follow this exact sequence, you aren't just answering a question, you are practically handing the examiner the exact rubric they need to sign off on full marks. Section 4. The top 3 examiner traps. Time for a live audit workshop. I am putting 60 seconds on the visual timer here for a live risk assessment. Even with a brilliant framework, danger is always lurking in the details. Based on our audit of the examiner reports, there are exactly 3 classic, critical compliance failures that trip up candidates year after year when dealing with discrete random variables. Let's burn these into your memory right now so your structural credibility doesn't completely collapse on test day. Here is where standard proposals lose their credibility. Trap number 1, using the wrong approach for the wrong context. You absolutely have to match your mathematical tool to the exact problem presented. You wouldn't pitch a merger when the client asked for a marketing strategy, right? Trap number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation conventions. I'm talking about proper headings, correct terminology, clear annotation. Do not lose premium marks on sloppy, unprofessional formatting. And trap number 3, providing answers that aren't specific to the context given. Listen, generic answers get generic, low-tier scores. Your final evaluation must explicitly, directly tie back to the specific real-world scenarios sitting in front of you. Section 5, Master Critical Evaluation. Deconstruct, solve, evaluate. This is where we transition from simply getting the right answer to hitting those higher-order assessment objectives, the cognitive domains that separate the A-tier consultants from everyone else. Problem-solving at the highest executive level requires what we call the deconstruct, solve, evaluate loop. First, identify the given information. Next, break it into logical, bite-sized steps. Then, solve systematically. But here is the critical pivot. You do not stop there. You must check your results for reasonableness. Is this answer actually logical in the real world? Finally, make justified recommendations. If you need to compare different statistical approaches, use comparative language and support every single claim with hard mathematical evidence. That is how you close the deal. Let's look at this matrix. This reveals the ultimate cognitive framework summary. There are 3 tiers of performance here. A standard entry-level response is merely descriptive. It just tells me what happened. A good, solid associate-level response moves a step up and is analytical. It explains how it works. But a top-scoring, managing director-level response, it is evaluative. Top-scoring candidates demonstrate elite evaluative thinking. They question underlying assumptions, they consider different mathematical perspectives, and above all, they justify their decisions with concrete evidence. They draw mature conclusions about relative importance. This evaluative tier is the exact elite skill level the Cambridge syllabus is ultimately trying to develop in you. So as we wrap up this boardroom session, I leave you with a direct challenge. How will you actively apply the deconstruct, solve, evaluate method to capture every single method mark on your next POS paper? Don't just watch this masterclass and passively move on. Take this executive playbook, open a POS paper today, and run this exact systematic sequence. Define your terms, show your absolute process, dodge those 3 compliance traps, and evaluate with hard evidence. Before you head out, if you want to keep operating at this elite level, you need to subscribe to AC Exams at AC Exams. Hit that subscribe button, enable the notification bell so you never miss a briefing, and drop a comment below with your current academic level and your target subject. Thank you so much for joining me in the boardroom today to decode this material. Now get out there and absolutely ace those exams.